What's up and welcome to Kplus Gaming Corner, and in this Outriders video I'm sharing my Devastator Concussioners build. If you like straight up punching enemies in the face and dealing knockout blows, then you came to the right place. It's been a while since I played with the Devastator, and playing with this build made me realize how much I missed my guy, as it was my very first character I played with way back when Outriders first dropped almost a year and a half ago, earthquaking my way through the original campaign. My only issue with this build is I wish the developers kept the main attribute as anomaly power instead of switching to bonus firepower, since it's a melee build and melee scales with your anomaly power, so following the logic, you'd want as much anomaly power as possible. We can still make it work despite that questionable move and be as tanky as ever as we Hulk smash through trials and expeditions, so let's get into it. Starting with the skills, we're going with Earthquake and Golem, and I decided to go with Boulderdash for reasons I'll explain shortly, though you could easily use Gravity Leap instead for the extra damage you'd get with the Despair mod. Reflect Bullets could also be an option since the Concussioner set comes with a bunch of those mods already equipped, but I felt it wasn't really needed or as useful as I wanted it to be, and in the end decided to just stick with Boulderdash. Golem is going to be the star of the show here though, since through that skill you're going to be dealing absurd amounts of damage as your defense becomes your best source of offense. For my main weapon, I'm using one of my favorite guns, the Sunfall, this one rolling with Ultimate Bone Shrapnel, which is great in this build since it's doing decent damage and causes bleed status. It comes with Firestorm as usual, and I threw on Mage's Rage to help ramp up that anomaly power. For my secondary weapon, we're going the Moaning Winds route with Radiation Splash added, and will be a great finishing move for anyone still standing after your main attacks. If you have a really good pistol, that might also be fun to mix in with everything else, but as usual, you'll be so busy with your other skills you likely won't need it. For the gear, we're starting with the Concussioner's helmet. Mine's not that great since I'm stuck with the charged up mod in the APOC slot, which is doing nothing for me. I'm basically on the hunt for a helmet with much better options like Anomaly Echo, Tainted Blood, Thunder's Legacy, or one of my favorites, Danger Close. Hopefully your helmet rolls with better luck than I've been getting. The helmet comes with Rockfall, which is a great Golem mod that allows your armor to fire projectiles at random enemies, doing decent damage while Golem is active. And then I added Primal Armor, which doubles your armor every time you do a Boulderdash for 5 seconds, which is going to be ideal when we get to the packs tree, and also helps boost the Concussioner's set bonus, which boosts the damage your melee skill will be doing and scales with how much armor you have. For the chest, I'm actually using a Seismic Commander piece since this comes with anomaly power and status power, and also was fortunate enough to roll Golem of Death here, which extends the duration of Golem by 1.5 seconds for every enemy killed while it's active. Your melees and earthquakes are going to be destroying everything around you, so you'll be able to have Golem up throwing those rockfall projectiles almost indefinitely. I added Tainted Blood here since we're going to be meleeing a lot and the Devastator's melee causes bleed by default. Plus, with a node in the packs tree, our gun will be causing bleed as well, so we'll be constantly benefiting from that 16% buff to enemies afflicted with bleed. I also included Earth Legacy here for some extra range on our earthquakes, making it an excellent long-range damage option since now your quakes will be reaching across the battlefield. I'm going with a Marshal's Waistcloth for my pants since I like the attributes, though some purple pants with anomaly power and status power would be preferred here. These pants come with power assimilation, which is always a great way to boost up our anomaly power, and another reason I'm using these is they rolled with Golem Squad, which increases the duration of Golem by 20% and also helps out your teammates by granting them the Golem effect as well whenever you activate it. I included Captain Hunter here, which is always a no-brainer, helping you take down those elites and bosses much faster. I'm using the Concussioner's Gauntlets, which comes standard with Concussive Force, which works great in this build since it boosts your melee damage by 25% and also increases the range of its effect by 50%, so whenever you Hulk smash in the midst of enemies, everyone in the vicinity is taking damage and melting away. These rolled with Ground Crush, which should always be added whenever you're using Earthquake for the extra damage, and I included Second Quake for the extra Earthquake before cooldown so I can do 2 Earthquakes at a time. You could also use the Tier 1 Extra Quake mod here since they do the same thing. We have the Concussioner's Boots, which round out the set bonus, and these come with 3 mods that are all perfect for the way we're running our build. Chip off the old block spawns a Golem clone whenever you do a running melee attack while the skill is active, which just looks badass and does an insane amount of damage, dealing 300% of your melee skill damage in a 3-meter radius. Oftentimes, this mod will be competing with your earthquakes for your top source of damage when you check your stats, so in my opinion, this is a must-have for this build. These also come with Brawl, which is key since it doubles the damage our melee skill is doing, and then these rolled with Unstoppable Force, which is always a great way to boost our anomaly power through your resistance piercing, which we'll be able to get a decent amount of. Looking at our class tree, we're going along the bottom, grabbing all the anomaly power nodes we can get, and making sure we get to Strong Arm of the Anomaly, which is increasing our resistance piercing by 15% for each enemy we hit with our melee, Paladin, which increases anomaly power by 45% anytime you use any skill. You're going to want to grab Through the Mob, which is increasing your armor by 15% for each enemy in close range. I'll explain why in a moment. And then we're using Strong Arm of the Law for another buff to our melee skill in addition to all the other buffs we're already getting. Protected by the Anomaly is increasing our armor by 40% of our anomaly power. Again, I'll explain why we want our armor as high as we can possibly get it. And then we finish off with Earth's Heritage, increasing the damage of our earthquakes by 50%. For the pack tree, we're going up top, grabbing Hunting Season, giving us some extra weapon damage and a bigger magazine size, useful if you want to use a shotgun instead of an assault weapon. Strange Surgeon, which is what will allow your weapon to inflict bleed, plus it's going to help your Golem come back faster since now killing enemies afflicted with bleed reduces the running cooldown of Golem by 1.5 seconds, and then we get to the main attraction, which is Overwhelming Force. This node's also going to be competing for your leading source of damage, since now, while Golem is active, you're going to be giving off a powerful seismic impulse every 2 seconds that scales with your armor value, so the higher your armor, the more damage your Golem is going to be doing just by being in the midst of enemies, and a reason why Armor Boost and Panzer Drain are also mods I'm trying to fit into this build if I can make room for them. You want your armor as high as possible to take the best advantage of this node, and with the Devastator there are a number of great ways to achieve this. For the Ascension points, you obviously want Anomaly Damage and Anomaly Power, Resistance Piercing, and Status Power. I also have points in Extra Armor and Damage Against Elites is always good. The rest is up to you to fill in as you see fit. That's the build. Hope this was helpful for you fellow Devastators out there. I appreciate you checking this out. And coming up, I have some more Devastator builds I'm working on, including my Marshall set, which has been really fun to play with. Banner Lord is coming, and I'm still rounding out my statue set. If you like these sorts of videos, and I really enjoy making them, make sure you're subscribed. It helps me get them out there and get more people to share these creative ideas with. And hit that like button. It's also really helpful and much appreciated. And with that, until next time,